All right, here we are at the law of sines. We're going to take a look at how to derive the law of sines, and then we'll take a look at how to use it. So if we have triangle A, B, C, and this can just be any old triangle out there, and we go ahead and drop the altitude down from A to side BC, if that's an altitude, then we know that this is going to be a right angle right here, and likewise on this side as well, right? So this is going to be a right angle. We can talk about angle B for the triangle ABD, and the sine of this angle is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, so we have H over C. And then we can go over here and take a look at angle C, this angle right here. Okay, and if we wanted to calculate the sine of angle C, we'd have to look at triangle ADC, because it has to be a right triangle, and that's going to be opposite over hypotenuse again, so that's going to be H over B. So what we're going to do with these two equations is solve both of them in terms, or solve for H in terms of sine and the denominator here. So we can do this algebraic manipulation, and then we can set them equal to each other. So C times the sine of angle B will equal B times the sine of angle C. And if we wanted to, we can just kind of, divide through by sine of angle B and sine of angle C, and we end up getting this proportion that says the side B divided by the sine of B is equal to the side C divided by the sine of C. And of course, had we renamed these letters for the angles, maybe A was down here and B was over there, C was up there, we'd have a different proportion letter-wise, but still the same relationship. So what that means is that if we just basically translated this in general, the law of sines says that in any triangle, you can take the side and divide it by the sine of the angle that's opposite that sine. And you set that equal to another pair of a side divided by the sine of angle that's related to that side. I know, it's a tongue twister. So A over the sine of A equals B over the sine of B equals C over the sine of C. And of course you can flip this all around if you wanted to do sine of A over A equals sine of B over B equals sine of C over C. Whatever works for you. And you're just going to pick the two ratios that work best for the given information. So let's take a look. They give us three pieces of information. In this case, they're giving us angle A, side A, and angle C. And all they're asking us to do is to solve triangle ABC, which means we just need to figure out the other three missing pieces. So we have two angles, we need to figure out the third angle. We have one side, we need to figure out the other two sides. Okay, so first, using the law of sines, we have side A and angle A. So we can set up a proportion that 20 over the sine of 71 is equal to, and I'm going to choose side C because I have angle C, so C over the sine of 62. And now it's just a matter of using our calculator and calculating this out. So figure out what the sine of 71 and the sine of 62 is, and then multiply, divide, and you get C is 18.7 units, whatever the units are. Okay, so that's side C. We still need to get side B, and before we can do that, we need to know what angle B is. So recall from geometry, the three angles in a triangle add up to be 180 degrees. So I can take 180, subtract 71, subtract 62, and that gets me angle B. So angle B is 47 degrees. Now that I have angle B, I can set up a new proportion using the law of sines, still doing the 20 over the sine of 71. You might think, oh, well, I now know C, I can plug that in here and use that one. But this is an approximation, right? We had to round to get that answer. It's better to use something more accurate. So I'm going to go ahead and do 20 over the sine of 71 again, equal to b over the sine of 47. And you work that out the same way, and we get b is 15.5. So remember when they said to solve the triangle ABC, they're looking for 3 pieces of information, and these are the 3 answers that you would need to give. Okay, so that's the law of sines. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. Just remember the proportion that you need to use to set it up. Make sure that when you are evaluating these things that you are in degrees on your calculator and not accidentally in radians or even gradients. So that would be bad. So make sure you're in degrees, otherwise you'll get the wrong decimals even though you set everything up correctly. Okay, that's it. Later.